Are your CPMs too high? Are you seeing increased CPMs for the audiences that you're targeting? Relax and take a deep breath because in this video, I'm gonna give you 3 reasons why your CPMs might be higher than usual. But before we get into the video, make sure you smash that like button if you get any value from my channel because it really helps the channel grow and that way I can continue to make more free content like this for you guys. And if you're new, please consider subscribing because I'm always releasing new videos to help small businesses like you with your Facebook advertising. So let's not waste any more time and dive right in. First, let's start with what I feel is the most obvious, and that's your audience size is too small, which may or may not be an area of concern for you depending on where you're using this audience within your funnel. So for example, if you have a custom audience in your bottom of the funnel retargeting, that's all your abandoned cart customers who added to cart, initiated a checkout, but didn't purchase, etc. Naturally, this audience size is going to be small, just based on the total traffic that is coming to your store and the average number of people who actually intend to buy something. So if your CPM is high for this particular audience, that's perfectly fine. You have nothing to worry about. However, if you are prospecting with a very small audience, let's say less than 10,000 people, then this would be a problem for you. Especially if you are using conversions campaigns and you're optimizing for leads or purchases, you want to have a much larger audience so that you're not constraining the algorithm to find your best customers for you. So think of it this way, a potential reach of 10,000 people is already pretty small, right? It's not huge. And if you're using conversions, you're telling the AI within that group of 10,000 users, find people who are most likely to purchase. We're gonna stick with our example of purchases here because it knows you're optimizing for purchases, so it's not gonna show your ads to everyone. It's going to show your ads to people who are most likely to perform that action. So immediately that drops your audience size to 60 or 70%. And by the way, this is just an estimate. And so essentially there are only so many people that Facebook can show your ads to. And as a consequence, your CPM goes up because it's going to show your ads to just a handful of people, and that handful of people is going to see your ads multiple times pretty quickly. So that's reason number 1. Oh, and by the way, if you're struggling to scale your ads right now and not seeing the results you want due to the iOS 14 issues, we'd love to help you out. We've adapted to the new changes and our clients have been seeing record-breaking months since iOS 14 dropped. So if this sounds like something you're interested in and you're doing at least $20,000 a month in sales, go ahead and click the link below to book a discovery call with me. We've been implementing plenty of new strategies to help our clients continue to scale, and we'd love to help you do the same. The second reason your CPMs might be high is competition. Let's not forget that Facebook ads is an auction platform where as a business or advertiser, you are effectively bidding on ad space on either Facebook or Instagram. So in an auction, it can be quite competitive, but ultimately whoever spends the most money wins. And that's not only because you can afford to spend more to acquire a customer, but also your ads will have a higher chance of being shown to your target audience because you're effectively able to outbid other advertisers who aren't spending as much. That being said, it's very possible that your target audience is one that a lot of people are competing for. So when everybody and their moms is trying to reach one particular audience, the cost to reach those people is naturally going to be driven up. And I'm going to use Bitcoin as an example because we're all familiar with Bitcoin at this point. So let's say that everyone wants to own Bitcoin, but there's only a limited supply of it. Because there's only a certain amount in circulation, but there's a lot of demand for it, the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. So just basic supply and demand here. And so going back to Facebook ads, a good example would be something like engaged shoppers or high net worth individuals or people who live in high income zip codes, because these groups of people are known to spend more money online, are wealthy, and have more purchasing power. For these reasons, advertisers want to place their ads in front of them based on the assumption that it will be easier to convert people with more money versus people with no money.
I declare Bankruptcy!
And I know it sounds super obvious, so sorry for dumbing it down. Now, if everyone is operating with that same mindset, Facebook is going to charge you a lot more to advertise to those users. Again, it's basic supply and demand. The third reason why your CPM might be high is that there is simply a disconnect between your audience and your brand. When I say disconnect, this could mean one of two things. It could mean that your target audience is not aligned with your offer, in which case that's a signal to test different offers and potentially different audiences. Or it could mean that there isn't enough demand in the overall market for what you're offering. With Facebook ads, there's a lot of things that need to be working in unison in order for you to have success. And that being said, not only do you need to have good creatives, but also your brand needs to connect with your audience. For example, if you have a jewelry brand and you're trying to target, I don't know, people with pets, you're probably not going to see a lot of results from that. Sure, you are going to have pet owners who also like jewelry, but that's probably not one of the primary characteristics of your customer profile. In this case, you're targeting the wrong people. Another example would be that there just isn't demand for your products or services with your audience. So I'll use Netflix as an example. Their growth has been pretty stagnant in the last few quarters, and this is because at this point, everyone who wants Netflix already has a Netflix subscription. They've been having a hard time adding new subscribers because there isn't enough new demand for their service. Another example, let's say you sell athletic apparel and you target people interested in fitness, weightlifting, etc. All of that is fine, but the problem is that there are a zillion athletic apparel companies that sell the same thing. So unless there is something particularly special about your clothing, or you have an absolutely irresistible offer where you have ridiculously low prices, it's going to be very difficult to sell. So your targeting is fine, but there just isn't demand in your market.
You keep talking like it's something that I may be interested in, but I'm not.
In each of these examples, there is a disconnect between what you're offering and what customers want. Fix that and your CPMs should improve. The fourth reason why your CPMs might be high is a little less obvious. For this one, you'll have to dig a bit deeper into your data and analytics, and it has to do with your demographics. So if you're advertising to everyone above the age of 18, that's fairly broad, but you'll notice that the CPMs are quite different depending on the age group. 18 to 24 is usually going to be the cheapest among them all. 24 to 35 gets a little bit more expensive. 35 to 44 even more expensive than the age group before that. 45 to 54 again is more expensive. And then you have 54 and up. That is where the CPM is going to be the highest. I'm talking anywhere from $50 to over $100 to reach people who are much older. So you'll notice that there is a pattern here. The older your audience, the higher the CPM, which isn't all that surprising if you understand why this is the way it is. So let's break it down. 18 to 24-year-olds typically have less money to spend. They're living in their dorm rooms and spending the little money they have on $2 cup noodles. Advertisers may not prioritize Gen Z because they tend to have less purchasing power, which makes them a cheaper audience to target because that ad space is valued less and less competitive. So then we have 25 to 35-year-olds. People in this age group generally have money to spend, right? And so naturally, as you age, you accumulate more and more money, which affords you more purchasing power and therefore makes you more valuable to advertisers. I'm not going to go into detail with every age group because you get the idea. So all you have to remember is this: as age increases, CPM rises. In other words, as purchasing power increases, the value to advertisers also increases. But there is still another reason why CPMs for the youth are lower than CPMs for people who are older. And that is because younger people are more agile and tech savvy. Now, you might be thinking, what the does agility have anything to do with my CPMs being so high? Well, it has more to do with it than you think. It's best to illustrate this with an example. So we have Julie, who is 67 years old, and then we have Billy, who is 22 years old. Julie has to put on her reading glasses so she can read the small text on her phone screen, and when she's scrolling through Facebook, she pauses to read each post and only sees one ad the entire time. Meanwhile, Billy is just tapping through his friends' stories like mad and scrolls like a maniac to see if there's anything interesting. And in that same time, he sees 7 ads. What's the difference between the two? Young people will scroll through their feeds much faster than your parents or grandparents. In the same time that it takes Julie to consume a single piece of content, Billy will have scrolled through 20 posts. To make a long story short, old people take longer to consume content, so not as many ads can be shown to them in a given time span. Young people consume content more quickly, so they see more ads in a smaller time span. I hope this makes sense as to how age affects CPMs. So if you're in Ads Manager and you're racking your brains about why your CPM is so high, take a look at your breakdowns by age and see where the cost is the highest. I guarantee you the people above 45 are bringing your average CPM up. The fifth and final reason why your CPMs may be high is seasonality. There are just certain times of the year where it is just going to cost you more money to advertise. A very obvious example is Q4 because you have all the holidays, you have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, and so on. So during that time, it is going to be very competitive since other brands and advertisers are also scaling up their ad budgets as well. That being said, seasonality is one of those things you can prepare for if you know ahead of time that it's going to be more expensive to run ads during certain months of the year. Or if you sell swimwear, summer is a really big season for you. People are not going to be buying swimsuits during the winter or fall unless they're planning to take a vacation somewhere tropical. Seasonality is different for each business, so be cognizant of when peak periods are for your business and whether your CPMs are higher during certain times of the year compared to others. So those are 5 reasons why your CPMs might be high. Hopefully that clarified things for you so you can work towards improving your ad costs. Stay tuned for part 2 where I'll go over tactical things you can do to lower your CPMs. As a reminder, if you're doing at least $20,000 a month in sales and you're interested in having my agency create, optimize, and manage your Facebook ad campaigns, click the link in the description box below to book a discovery call with me. As always, if you got any value from this video, destroy that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and please share this video with a friend who you think will benefit from this. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!